Hello YouTubers, Ted here in beautiful Côte St. Luc, Canada, bringing you my Forge of Empires End of Year 2022 update. In this update we'll cover three things: my Give Peace a Chance experiment on Uceria world, my diamond farm, and my main world. By the way, I'm making this video on Christmas Eve. If you're of that persuasion, Merry Christmas. If you're not of that persuasion, then happy holidays and soon Happy New Year. So here's my city on Uceria world, which is the newest world on the international server. And this is my Give Peace a Chance experiment. I call my city Peaceville. So what's Give Peace a Chance? I made a previous video on it, but you may well not have seen it. The idea is to play the game without fighting. No fighting. If I look up here to my rank, player rank, you can see one battles. One battle. Why one? The tutorial to the game forces you to win one battle, so you really can't play without that one battle. But besides that one battle, I've never fought a battle since. I do everything that I need to do by negotiation. Why am I doing that? It's interesting. It's a challenge. I like peace. There's too much war in the world. I like to show what we can do by peaceful cooperation and, economic building and so on. To paraphrase a few things that other people have said, and, by the way, it's not just me. I've created this guild, Give Peace a Chance, where all the players are not fighting. Some of them fought a little bit more than one battle before they joined the guild, before they had this concept, but they've all sworn off fighting. So some of the other players have said things like, it's refreshing, it's a refreshing change from, just doing smashing auto battle all the time. Some of the players in the guild, and I'll talk more about the guild members later, they have cities on other worlds and, they're successful there. But, you play in Guild Expedition or Guild Battleground or whatever, and you're just smashing auto battle all day, tens of times, hundreds of times, thousands of times. It's kind of boring. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We're giving peace a chance, and we're building up our cities and our guild through just negotiation, goods, peaceful cooperation. So I'll just say a few things about my city before I say a few things about the guild as a whole. I am in the High Middle Ages here. You can see this is the High Middle Ages Town Hall. And I have just about finished the tech tree for the High Middle Ages. You can see here I'm getting towards the end. And I might finish very soon. Right now the winter contest is going on. Or the winter event, I should say. There's 8 days left in the winter event, almost 9. So there's still some quests to do, and normally I don't go up an age during an event because it can create problems. You can get quests that are very hard to solve if you're at the beginning of an age and you don't have the right technology and so on. However, I might go up to late Middle Ages before the end of the event, depending on what special buildings come up. I'm potentially interested in getting sleigh builders to generate goods, and sleigh builders are a great way of generating goods efficiently. They take 6 squares, so they're much smaller than an ordinary goods building, although they also produce 15 goods as opposed to 25 a day, which is the most you can get out of one of these goods buildings. But on the other hand, they don't require much people and supplies and coins. So sleigh builders are quite efficient. Now, sleigh builders were one of the special event daily specials here earlier in the contest, and I only noticed late in the day, and then I got distracted by something, so I didn't get any because I was just away from the game. And anyway, I'm hoping either Sleigh Builders will come up again as the daily special, or I'll be able to, switch one of the daily specials. So every day since then, I've been switching and hoping that Sleigh Builders will come up again. If I get Sleigh Builders, I would want them to be of my next stage, because I'm ready to move to late Middle Ages. So I would probably go up to late Middle Ages and then cash in all my stars. I have 1,000 stars. Cash in all my stars in the winter event, get a bunch of Sleigh Builders, and those Sleigh Builders would be of the late Middle Age as opposed to of the high Middle Age, which is what they would be if I got them now. So that's why I'm preparing to go up to late Middle Ages. And you can see I don't have far to go. In fact, I could finish heavy armor right now with the forge points I have. In fact, maybe I'll just go ahead and do that, just to add some more action to this video. Hello. Okay, there we go. A little bit of pause. I don't know what was up with that. And then, I can pretty quickly finish and fill up the hospitals. And then I just need to get any one of these technologies, and I'll be in late Middle Ages. I'll get the one that has silk, which might be this one. Yes, silk. Because on the continent map, that's the next thing I'll talk about. On the continent map, I've sort of been slow playing it a bit. I've left a number of provinces unconquered, including these ones that give some helpful expansions, so I should probably do those soon. But I don't really need, these supplies and coins and so on. So I'm just leaving them unconquered because, maybe someday I get a quest where I have to conquer a sector, and it's just convenient to have them around. And I'm even leaving some provinces unexplored because, again, sometimes you get a quest that asks you to explore a province. And so I just leave a couple of them around to clean up later if I need them for a quest. But, whoops, I don't know what I pressed on. But I have advanced through the High Middle Age provinces, and I've started advancing through the late Middle Age provinces, and I can already see that I'll be able to generate silk as one of my goods, and talc as another of my goods. I need to post some trades and get some of the late Middle Age goods before I can take these sectors. I just haven't gotten around to it. It's not urgent yet. So maybe I'll just talk about the buildings in my city a little bit. Of course, because I'm negotiating everything, I have a lot of goods production capability. So in High Middle Ages, one of the things I produce is herbs. I have 4 herb production buildings. The other thing I produce is salt. That's not salt. Salt. And I have 4 salt production buildings. So those are generating 100 goods of those 2 types per day. And I have 2 buildings each of the previous era, granite and alabaster. So I'm making 50 of those per day. Negotiations, sometimes you need current age goods and sometimes you need previous age goods. So I have both of those. Plus, I have some other buildings, special event buildings, like this tarot card caravans, which came from the previous special event. I guess that was the Halloween event, which is generating high Middle Age goods for me. And these ones too. I kept about a little bit of, so this is early Middle Age goods that I kept. I could upgrade this, but it's good to maybe in the background just keep generating some older age goods in case you need them. And this one is still at the Iron Age. It just slowly fills in goods at the lower ages. Plus I still do have 1 each of my bronze and Iron Age goods productions buildings. If we look at my goods holdings here, it's not amazing, but it's okay. I'm especially good at early Middle Ages, where I have more than 1,000 of everything. High Middle Ages, I'm a bit lower because I keep spending them. I spend them on the negotiating for sectors, and I spend them on Guild Expedition and Guild Battlegrounds, although I spend early Middle Ages there too. And my Iron Age is slowly creeping up. Bronze Age, I'm a bit low, and I'll tell more about why that is in a second. But I need to trade for some late Middle Age goods soon. So the other thing to talk about is, I guess, the great buildings. So the first great building I built was the lighthouse. The lighthouse is great because it multiplies your supplies production. I've gotten my lighthouse up to level 10, where I paused for a while. But it's giving me 150% boost. Sorry, right now it's giving me 145% boost, which means, 145% extra on top of the normal supply production from these buildings. So in other words, 245% of their normal capacity. And that's been a big boon. You can see my supplies are very healthy here at 3.5 million. My coins are also quite happy here, even though I don't have St. Mark's Basilica, which multiplies your coin production. Maybe I would build St. Mark Basilica in a bit, but I got my lighthouse up to level 10, and I can build it more levels because I have blueprints stored up here. What did I click on? Oops, I didn't even mean to level it up. I just meant to show this. But anyway, you can see I have some blueprints saved up here, so I can go some extra levels with that. But of course, it's not a huge big deal. It only adds one extra good per level and another 5%. So that's not a big deal. The big deal is building it in the first place and getting it a few levels up. I also have Temple of Relics, so that's of course giving me some extra bonuses as I go through the Guild Expedition here. I can try to do negotiation and see if anything pops up, but the chance is still low. The thing about Temple of Relics is at level 1, you get a 10% or something chance of getting a relic for every negotiation you successfully complete. And, oh boy, I'm not guessing too well here. And, what am I saying? I'm distracting myself. Oh, I guessed wrong. Okay, sometimes I do this. I spend some diamonds. I wouldn't probably normally do it at such an easy and low level negotiation. I usually save that for the hard negotiations where I'm spending a lot of goods. But just for sake of this video, I guessed as wrong as I possibly could guess. We'll fill this in. Anyway, I was saying that the Temple of Relics gives you a nice percentage boost at the level 1, and then level 2, it's a slightly higher percentage boost, but not that much higher, just a little. And then it creeps up very slowly. So I am raising this one, but 0.5% chance for a whole level. It's not a high priority, but ultimately someday, of course, I want to get that up. The other great building to talk about, of course, is the Ark. So the Ark, of course, is a much more advanced level great building, and I needed help getting it. I want to shout out my friend here, Sierra Tango, who helped me get the goods for the Ark and blueprints as well. So, help. I paid for it. I paid 1,500 forge points over the course of it didn't take me quite 2 weeks. The city generates about 75 forge points per day. So it took, so by that reasoning, it should take about 2 weeks to make 1,500 forge points. It took a little bit less because I also, got some rewards from Guild Expedition and other places, got some forge points. But so let's say it took 11 or 12 days probably to give her the forge points into her different great buildings. By the way, she had a number of customers, and over those 2 weeks, her arc went from something like level 17 to level 60, so it rocketed up. She was doing multiple levels per day. I got some blueprints out of it early on. Later on, I was, just putting the forge points in. But then she gave me the goods. And that's part of why I'm low on Bronze Age goods, because I traded her 2 for 1, or 1 of mine for 2 of hers Bronze Age goods for the future age goods that I needed. You can see they're way, way down here. I don't have any because I spent them all. But, I think it's 1,850 total future age goods you need to produce the arc. So she gave me those goods, and I thank her very much for working with me on that. So now I have the arc, and of course the great thing about the arc is that it's giving you bonuses every time you level up somebody else's buildings. And we have, like most guilds, we have swap threads and so on to help level up each other's buildings. So I get an extra 17% bonus back on the forge point bonuses and blueprint bonuses and so on from those. And it's also generating goods for the guild treasury, because of course you need guild treasury goods. Sorry, just a little bit of noise outside. I think I'll play through the noise, but we've got some bit of a winter storm outside, and there's some street clearing stuff going on out there. You need guild treasury goods for Guild Expedition, opening levels 2 and 3 and 4. And do we need it for anything else? Of course, if we were building buildings in Guild Battlegrounds, we would need it for that too. But we're not doing that so much. Anyway, you can see here that the arc is helping contribute goods here in the High Middle Ages. So our treasury is healthy. Some of our other players, they don't have arcs yet, but they have observatories, so we're getting goods here. So the arc is great, and I'm working on getting that up levels as well. I think after the arc, maybe St. Mark's will be my next great building that I'm emphasizing. But, I'm really trying to focus on, first of all, it's early days. I don't have a lot of spare space, and so I'm focusing on things that amplify what I'm already doing. So amplify supplies production, amplify Guild Expedition by giving rewards, and also help in Guild Expedition by giving treasury goods, and by just helping, giving me extra rewards for leveling other people's buildings. By the way, I'll make a comment on Guild Expedition. We've had some soul searching as a guild on the value of Guild Expedition, and we like doing it, and we do pretty well. And of course, we're put against in the competition, in the Guild Expedition competition. We're put against guilds that are not very high achieving, but we often win, so that gives us some nice guild power and so on. And the past couple of weeks, we've been only opening Guild Expedition up to level 3, and several of us are finishing that. I usually do. Sometimes we're opening Guild Expedition level 4, and we can finish that too, and I've finished it before. But it's very expensive on goods, and there's really not a lot of rewards that are worth it. The best thing I've gotten is some upgrades to these Face of the Ancient and Gate of the Sun God, which are helping generate some happiness to keep my people enthusiastic. But there's not a whole lot really of rewards that seem worth it. on Guild Expedition 4, so the expense in goods starts to outweigh the possible benefit. I remember in my main city, when I was finally able to finish Guild Expedition level 4, I was very excited, and I was negotiating in that city at that time. Now that city is more of a fighting city. But I was very excited to get the terrace farms, and especially because they had created the level 2. So terrace farm level 2, which generates a fair bit of forge points. But the thing is, in the meantime, so many event buildings have been created that generate similar or more forge points, and especially if you think about the efficiency of the forge point generation. So like this building, this sunflower oil press, generates equal forge points, 12, to a level 2 terrace farm, and it does it in fewer squares. And this one generates 10 forge points, but it's many fewer squares. I don't know how many squares. Is this 4x4 or 4x5? I don't know. Anyway, the terrace farm is 5x6, so it takes up 30 squares. It's very big. And so the event buildings are more efficient for forge point production, and that's so why are we, what's the point in Guild Expedition 4? It just takes a lot of goods. I don't know. So let me just say a few things about the guild as a whole. And by the way, I'm conscious that this is turning into a very long, rambling sort of video. I did write out a rough outline of what I wanted to say, but I find that I'm making a lot of side comments. So I'll just say a few things about the guild as a whole. We are 8 members in Give Peace a Chance, all dedicated to not fighting. It's a pretty solid core group. We had a few other people come and go, but these people have stuck around for a while. Of course, we'd like to have even more people, so if you're playing on Uceria World on international server and you want to try what the game is like without fighting, consider it, give us a try. If you've already been fighting, it's okay. Everybody else that I recruited to the guild did some fighting before we came up with this, before they heard this concept of the guild, and so but they sworn off fighting when they joined the guild. So you're welcome if you want to join and give it a try. Our top player by points is Nardugan. I don't know how exactly to spell it, Nardugan, whatever. Great guy, very helpful in running the guild as well. I gave him full founder abilities, so he's often opening G if I'm not on, or things like this. So thanks to Nardugan for your help and good work in the guild. And Nardugan is more advanced than me. He's in colonial age. He's been the source of a number of the BPs that I've been accumulating for instance, for St. Mark's, even though I haven't built it yet. So he's really forging ahead and doing a great job. And we've got True George, who's also doing very well, 1 age ahead of me. By points, I jumped over True George when I built the Ark. I was very surprised. I didn't realize it would happen. When I built the Ark, my score suddenly jumped up by like 100,000 points. So I jumped over True George, but I used to be in spot 3, and for the longest time, True George was ahead of me, and quite possibly True George will overtake me again, and especially if he builds Ark, he'll jump ahead of me again, which is fine. I don't need to be the top player. Totally cool. Mama Law is another of our long-term players. She joined very early on. I don't remember who joined me first. It might have been her. I'm not sure. And we've got Cordelia, Jackie B, Bipsis, and Fulvia the Wise. So we're all having a grand time here, not fighting, and working together and trading and so on like this. I'll just show the guild ranking up here. We're doing fine now, of course. We're ranked 145. We're level 11. There's only so much you can do. I mean, if you're not participating in guild versus guild, which we can't because it's only doable by fighting, well, that limits, what you can do in terms of gaining prestige and power and going up levels and so on like that. And we participate some in guild battlegrounds. I think we're taking it kind of easy this round. I just did a couple fights. It's mainly because I've been focusing on other things. But there's been a few rounds, especially down here in Copper League, and if nobody else is doing much, there's been rounds where we won guild battleground. We just take 3 or 4, like these pink guys are doing. We've done that in some of the previous times. Take a few territories, and if nobody else is doing much, then we can end up winning the whole thing. And that's generated some good points for us. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say. That's give peace a chance. And next I'm going to talk about my diamond farm on Arvahall world. Okay, so here's my diamond farm, and by the way, the discussion is going to be much quicker. There's not a whole lot to say about my diamond farm or my main city. I only have the 3 cities these days. Diamond farm is doing nicely. I'm in the modern era. Of course, modern era was a bit of a challenge because I don't use goods production buildings in this city, and up until modern era, I had been relying on these wishing wells and fountains of youth primarily. I have 70 of them to produce the goods that I needed. But from modern era on, these things are all producing 3-age-old goods. So they're not helping me with my current age goods anymore. This is the same true of the lighthouse here. And so I have to rely on special events buildings and other random ways of getting goods, like what my Temple of Relics gives me. Sometimes I get goods rewards in Guild Expedition. But I've upgraded a lot. And by the way, another thing that's new is I finally finished my Yggdrasil. Got it up to level 9, so that's nice. But I rely on these special event buildings to produce most of my goods. That makes 20 goods for the modern era. These make 25 goods for the modern era. These make those don't make goods. So anyway, of course I don't have a huge need for goods because I don't negotiate hardly at all in this city. This is a very fighting oriented city. You can see how I have all these things to magnify my fighting power. Lately I'm getting my Castel del Monte up even more levels after leaving it parked at level 60 for a long time. But I'm cruising along here. I finish GE4 every week. I do fighting a guild expedition. I haven't fought today. But I'll do a few fights again just to add some action to the video here. Woohoo! Free forage points. Does this show my... Yeah, bonus. So I have plus 510 attack bonus and plus 412 defense bonus. The attack bonus, I would like it to be a bit higher. The thing is I don't have a lot of space. I have a bunch of buildings just sitting in my storage that could give me a lot more attack power. I don't know how much, but several hundreds at least. I've got a bunch of Stage of Ages and Winter Circles and even some special event buildings that I just haven't had the space to plant, because so much of my space is dedicated to those wishing wells and fountains of youth. But ultimately I hope to get that attack power up higher. I did gain some more defense power this event during the current ongoing winter event, because when Sentinel, not upgrades, but what is it, selection kits, Sentinel Outpost selection kits came up as the daily special, I spent all of my stars and I got 7. So, and I used those to upgrade some Sentinel outposts that I had already planted in my city. So in total I gained 14 more defense points. It's not huge, but it's something, and it's something I'm working on over time. Anyway, some fighting action for you. You see, these are my Sentinel outposts, which are the most efficient way per square of gaining defensive power for your attacking army. I have a whole bunch of sentinel outposts here, and these ones are all level 2, so that means they add 4, whereas these ones add 2. So I still need some more upgrades. And by the way, I still have some unplanted ones here, 12, so I could add straight away 24 more defense if I wanted to spend the land to do it, which maybe I should do now that I think about it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just sort of chugging along here. Of course, I've long since finished the tech tree for modern era, and I've prepped all these technologies for the postmodern era. I might go into the postmodern era very soon. If I don't do it before the event ends, and there's no real compelling reason to do it before the event ends, so probably I wait till after the event, then I will do it immediately after the event, and then I'll start plugging through the postmodern era. As I've said in a previous video, I believe my main goal for this world is ultimately to get to the future so that I can get hover tanks, and then life becomes really easier if you're a fighter. And I don't know, maybe I'll just stay at future era forever, but that's still 4 eras away, so it's still a while till I get there. The other thing I want to say about long-term plans here is, as I mentioned shortly ago, I have 70 wishing wells and fountains of youth. I might like to increase that number to 100, just because it's a cool round number. I have, again, a lot of them stored already, just lacking for space. I have 13 wishing wells, which I could shrink. Well, then I could make a few more here. It's probably more like 17 or so. And, whoops, can't type. Fountains of Youth, I have even more just stored. You get these from Guild Expedition. So I could easily, if I had the space, plant 30 more and bring myself to a nice round 100. 100 of these would, on average, generate 50 diamonds per day, which is pretty nice. Although I'm not spending the diamonds I have. You can see I have 25,000 plus stored up. I don't know how many total I generate. I've been thinking of making a video that just lays out a clear calculation of how many diamonds you should expect to generate based on how many wishing wells and fountains of youth you have, based on how much guild expedition you have, how much that you complete, rather, how much fighting you do in guild battlegrounds, and as well if you have some special buildings or so on. So maybe I'll make that video sometime soon. Besides that, I think that's all I want to say for my diamond farm, and then we can wrap up this video by talking about my main world. So this is my main city in Fel Dranghyr world. It doesn't even fit on the screen. I can change my resolution a bit here to make it fit better. This is the one I first started and that I've been playing all along since the beginning. I've been playing Forge of Empires for about 4.5 years, by the way, I believe. Not too long ago, I passed the 4-year mark in my diamond farm, which I was just showing you. But, of course, I haven't been focused on advancing that one nearly as much as this one. So this one is in Space Age Jupiter Moon, which is the biggest era that exists. I've finished the tech tree. I think I might have even showed this in my last video, finishing the tech tree. So we're waiting for Space Age Titan to come out. I don't know when that'll be. Of course, I finished the continent map. Whoops. So you can see here all the different worlds that I've finished through, and this is all green. That means I've finished it. Everything's green. I've explored everything, done everything. This is guild versus guild. That doesn't count. So anyway, pretty much finished everything I can do here. And I'm just sort of plugging away here, building up treasury, doing battles. I'm in guild, Vanguard Castle. I've been in a few different guilds over the years, but this guild, Vanguard Castle, was one that I joined very early on, and that I was in for about 2 years. They raised me up from a newbie until I don't remember exactly what level, and then I actually quit the game for a bit. And then when I came back, I bounced around some other guilds, and for a while I was in Strange. What was it called? I forget the name. Strange something. And Strange Days, I think it was called, which at the time was the #1 guild in this world. So I spent about a year there, and I had a great time, but it just got to be too much. Guild Battleground, hundreds of fights per day, 1,000 fights per day. I mean, you're just hitting auto battle over and over and over, and it got to be a little bit too much. And so I came back to Vanguard Castle, where I very happily plug along, and I contribute to Guild Battlegrounds, but usually I won't do more than maybe 50 fights a day. Sometimes I get on a roll. Right now we're against some really tough opponents, so we're just hitting a few sectors next to us, and our intention is to not do well and to drop down to Platinum League. Right now we're in, is this Diamond? Yeah, we're in Diamond League. So we want to drop back down to Platinum, where we have a grand old time and romp over the whole map. But we work with other people. We're not jerks. We share the map, and we swap territories with them. But, when it's like this, I'll do 20, 30, maybe 50 fights in a day. But, we're not trying to do much as a guild. When we have the whole map, when we're not against such tough people, and we have the whole, Misfits is really, really tough, but they're just one of a few that are really tough. Actually, I see we're in 3rd spot. Our stated goal is to end in 7th or 8th spot so we can drop down. We're not doing very good at that goal. Anyway, when we have a map that we can really romp over, sometimes I do more fights, but honestly, sometimes I don't, because the guild doesn't need me. They get along just fine without my fighting power when we're not against tough opponents, and so I leave it to other people to, quote, enjoy, close quote, all those fights and reap the rewards. So that's mainly what, and I continue to get my great buildings up levels. You see, I'm working on getting St. Mark's and Himeji up to level 80, and most of my other great buildings are up to level 80 now. I still need to do Lighthouse Observatory, and I think the Space Carrier, no, not Space Carrier, what is it? Stargazer, maybe. Stargazer. So before the new year, probably, these two will be up at level 80, and then in the new year, I'll get Lighthouse Observatory and Stargazer up to level 80, and then all my great buildings will be level 80. I might just stop. I mean, what's the point? There's such diminishing returns at this point. So I might just anyway, I've been kind of lazy about spending my forge points. Where can I see it? I don't remember exactly where I can see it. Oh, I can probably see it here somewhere. I can't remember where to look at my forge points, how many forge points I have stored. I think maybe it doesn't show up. I think it shows up here when I'm not in full screen mode. Anyway, I have something like 150,000 forge points stored up. Maybe I'll just start storing forge points and see if I can get to 1 million or something like that. So that's pretty much the update for my main world. The other thing I'm doing is waiting, because I finish Guild Expedition every week, and there's rumblings about Guild Expedition level 5 coming to the game soon. So I'm kind of curious and waiting for what that's going to be like. That's the main excitement, I would say, to look forward to in this city, which otherwise is pretty much maxed out. I mean, the other thing I do is I slowly increasing my fighting power. So it's not amazing. I have 1276% attack bonus, 741 defense bonus. It's enough, But I'd like to be at something like 1,500% attack and 1,000 defense. So I slowly work towards that. Again, I got some Sentinel outpost upgrades, which I haven't yet placed. And as I get more special event buildings or other things, I have a ton of Stage of Ages stored, so maybe I'll just plant those. But I should put away some of these buildings maybe that just produce forge points or other things that I don't need as much, and increase my attack power. So I'm slowly working on gaining attack power, slowly-ish working on getting the great buildings all up to level 80, at which point I made a stop, and sort of curiously waiting for what Guild Expedition level 5 looks like and what the special reward buildings are there. Maybe there'll be something super exciting there. I don't know. So that's pretty much it. I will be absolutely astonished if anybody managed to watch their way through this very long video, but if so, kudos. Write a message or a comment, saying you made it to the end. I'm just curious. And of course, the YouTube statistics also show me how many people watch and what percentage of the video they watch. But that's pretty much it, my end of year update. So thanks for watching, happy holidays, and see you all in the new year.